Most people think the birds in their backyard simply come and go at random. One morning, the trees are alive with song. Sparrows bounce across the grass. Cardinals visit the feeder. Chickadees call from the fence line. And then, suddenly, everything changes. The songs stop. The feeders sit untouched. The yard feels strangely empty, almost silent. For some people, it lasts a few hours. For others, days. Sometimes entire neighborhoods notice it at once. And the strangest part is this: birds rarely disappear without a reason. Because to birds, survival depends on detecting danger long before humans ever notice it. Your backyard may look peaceful to you, but to a bird, it is part of a constantly shifting world of predators, weather changes, invisible signals, migration routes, environmental stress, and survival calculations happening every second. And when birds suddenly vanish from your yard, it often means something important is happening nearby, something humans cannot yet see. Scientists who study bird behavior have spent decades trying to understand why birds abruptly abandon areas they previously visited every single day. And what they discovered reveals a hidden world of intelligence, fear, communication, and environmental awareness far beyond what most people imagine. One of the most common reasons birds disappear is something called predator pressure. Even if you never see the predator yourself, the birds almost certainly do. A single hawk moving silently overhead can completely transform the behavior of an entire backyard ecosystem. To humans, the sky may look empty, but many backyard birds are constantly scanning above them for movement. Tiny shifts in shadows, wing shapes, flight patterns, even the angle of sunlight reflecting off feathers can trigger alarm responses. Researchers studying small songbirds discovered that many species can recognize predators within fractions of a second. And once danger is detected, something remarkable happens. Birds begin communicating. Alarm calls spread rapidly between species. A blue jay screaming from a tree may accidentally warn robins, sparrows, squirrels, rabbits, and even deer nearby. Entire neighborhoods can fall silent almost instantly. Scientists call this landscape of fear, an invisible psychological map animals use to decide where it is safe to feed, sing, or rest. And once fear enters that landscape, birds often disappear completely until the threat feels gone. But predators are not always obvious. Sometimes the greatest danger is sitting quietly inside a home nearby. Domestic cats are believed to kill billions of birds globally every year. Even well-fed pet cats trigger intense fear responses in backyard birds. Birds do not need to witness an attack directly. Simply spotting a cat moving through grass can permanently alter feeding behavior for days. Some birds memorize dangerous locations with astonishing precision. Scientists now believe many species create mental maps of safe and unsafe territories, constantly updating them based on experience. In other words, your backyard may disappear from a bird's safe zone long before humans realize anything changed. And sometimes, the danger is not an animal at all. It is the weather. Long before storms arrive, birds begin behaving differently. Many species possess extraordinary sensitivity to environmental changes humans barely notice. Tiny shifts in atmospheric pressure can trigger feeding frenzies or sudden disappearances. Birds often vanish before major storms because they are already responding to incoming conditions hours or even days before humans feel them. Scientists believe some species can detect low-frequency sound waves generated by distant weather systems far beyond human hearing range. Others sense changes in air pressure through highly specialized inner ear structures. To early humans, this must have seemed almost supernatural. Entire forests suddenly falling silent before violent weather arrived. But the birds were not predicting the future. They were sensing invisible environmental information humans could not perceive. And perhaps nowhere is this more mysterious than during migration season. Every year, billions of birds disappear from familiar places and begin journeys so extraordinary they still challenge modern science. Tiny birds weighing less than a handful of coins travel thousands of miles across continents and oceans with astonishing precision. Some navigate using Earth's magnetic field itself. Others use star patterns, sunlight angles, polarized light, landmarks, and even smell. Researchers discovered that certain birds contain specialized proteins in their eyes that may literally allow them to see magnetic fields. Imagine looking at the world and seeing invisible navigation lines across the sky. That may be reality for migratory birds. And when migration begins, backyards that once felt full of life can suddenly become empty almost overnight. One day your feeder overflows with activity. The next, silence. But migration is not random. Many birds follow incredibly strict biological schedules controlled by changing daylight length, hormone shifts, temperature changes, and food availability. Even captive birds raised indoors often become restless during migration season, despite never seeing the outside world. Something ancient deep inside them still responds to invisible seasonal signals. Scientists call this migratory restlessness Zugunruhe. Birds may flutter at night, become agitated, or attempt to move in migration directions even in captivity. It is one of the clearest reminders that migration is not learned entirely through experience. Much of it is written directly into their biology. And yet migration is only one reason birds disappear. Sometimes they leave because the environment itself is changing in ways humans fail to notice. Birds are extraordinarily sensitive to habitat quality. Small changes in noise, chemicals, lighting, and food availability can dramatically alter bird behavior. A backyard that once felt safe may slowly become hostile. Pesticides reduce insect populations. Artificial lights disrupt navigation and sleep cycles. Construction noise increases stress hormones. Certain plants remove food sources. Even reflective windows can create deadly hazards birds cannot understand. To humans, these changes often feel minor. To birds, they can mean survival or death. And scientists are increasingly using birds as environmental warning systems, because birds often react to ecological problems before humans detect them. In many ecosystems, sudden bird disappearance can signal deeper environmental imbalance, pollution, habitat destruction, climate shifts, food chain collapse. Birds respond quickly because their survival depends on reacting quickly. And perhaps the most emotional reason birds disappear involves something humans rarely consider: trust. Birds constantly study human behavior. Research involving crows, ravens, pigeons, and many backyard species has shown that birds can recognize individual humans and remember experiences for years. Not humans in general, specific humans. The quiet gardener who refills the feeder, the child who chases birds across the lawn, the person who walks aggressively near nests, the neighbor who moves slowly and predictably. To birds, humans are not one species. We are collections of behavioral patterns. And once birds decide a location no longer feels safe, many simply stop returning. Some species even learn fear socially. One frightened bird can influence many others. Researchers observed crows teaching younger generations to fear specific human faces associated with danger. The information spread socially through the group. Birds were passing knowledge between generations. And this hidden intelligence changes the way we should think about our backyards entirely. Because what feels empty to us may actually be full of invisible decisions happening constantly. Every bird visiting your yard is performing survival calculations. Where is food safest? Where are predators hiding? Which humans can be trusted? Is weather changing? Are migration signals beginning? Has the environment shifted? Every visit to a feeder is a risk. Every song exposes location. Every movement could attract predators. The simple act of existing in the open is dangerous for a small bird. And yet, despite those dangers, birds continue returning to human spaces year after year, which may be one of the most fascinating mysteries of all. Because some birds do not merely tolerate humans, they adapt to us. Urban birds in many cities are evolving differently than their rural relatives. Some sing at different frequencies to overcome traffic noise. Others change feeding schedules based on human activity patterns. Certain birds now use buildings as nesting cliffs and streetlights as hunting tools. Nature is not static, it is constantly adjusting around us. And the disappearance of birds may sometimes represent adaptation rather than catastrophe. But not always. Across the world, scientists are documenting alarming declines in bird populations. Habitat loss, pesticides, climate disruption, window collisions, invasive predators, and environmental change are affecting species on massive scales. In North America alone, researchers estimate billions of birds have disappeared over recent decades. Entire soundscapes are slowly changing. Some mornings are quieter now than they once were, and many people sense this emotionally before they understand it scientifically. A silent backyard feels wrong. Humans evolved alongside birdsong for thousands of years. The sound of birds became deeply connected to feelings of safety, mourning, life, and seasonal rhythm. When birds disappear, something ancient inside us notices. Because birds are more than decoration. They are part of the emotional heartbeat of nature itself. And perhaps that is why their sudden absence feels so unsettling. Silence where life should be. Movement gone from familiar branches. Empty feeders swaying in the wind. But sometimes, the birds are not truly gone. They are simply waiting. Waiting for danger to pass. waiting for storms to move, waiting for migration season to end, waiting for the world to feel safe again. And the next time birds suddenly disappear from your yard, remember this. You are witnessing something far deeper than random absence. You are seeing the hidden survival intelligence of creatures constantly reading a world humans barely notice. A world filled with invisible signals, ancient instincts, silent warnings, environmental changes, and survival decisions happening all around us every single day. And somewhere beyond the silence, the birds are still watching.